They only play those who still hope to be liked. The moment you kill the need to please, you stop being their toy and become their terror. You stop speaking to be heard, stop moving to be noticed, stop bending to be accepted. You move with silence. You act without explanation. You become what they don't know how to predict. And in a world addicted to emotional puppetry, the one who no longer needs approval becomes unplayable. People want you nice, soft, agreeable, digestible. That's how they extract power. They train you early. Smile when it's not real. Agree when you disagree. Say yes before you've even thought. They clap when you submit. Now they realize that wasn't an invitation. That was a test. And they failed. Because the one rule you never speak but always enforce is this: if they think your affection is owed, they are unworthy of it. They'll ask what changed. They'll wonder when they lost you. But the truth is, they never had you. They had a version of you designed to survive, not to reign. And once that version died, you became sovereign. You are not cold. You're clean. Clean from the mess of emotional dependency. Clean from the rot of constant compromise. You are now a figure they bow to, not a servant who bends for attention. This is why you must never try to be understood. Understanding makes you small. Explanation invites deception. But mystery is immortal. They respect what they can't define. They chase what they can't capture. You've become both. Not a mystery by accident, but by design. You are fragments, silhouettes, echoes of something deeper. They sense it. They hunger for it, but they never reach it. You want to destroy the need to please, then stop seeking closure. Let them misunderstand you. Let them think you're heartless. Let them call you cold. What they say reveals their weakness. What you withhold reveals your strength. Their emotions don't belong to you. Their discomfort is not your debt. Their expectations are not your orders. And once you realize this, you no longer speak to clarify. You speak only when the silence would cost more. That is when the dynamic shifts forever. They now know your attention is not casual. Your presence is not free. Your words are not for decoration. Everything you do is an act of self-alignment. And if they want to be part of it, they must rise to your standard. You don't lower the throne. You teach them to climb. And most won't. Most will retreat, hurt that you wouldn't shrink for them. Let them. Their departure is proof of your clarity. You didn't lose them. You filtered them. And those who stay, those who adapt, will carry your imprint forever. Because what you offer is rare in a world of oversharing and overgiving. Disciplined affection. You give only what multiplies your peace. Everything else gone without a word. People play those who are desperate to be included. But you're not desperate. You are the invitation they hope to receive. You've inverted the game. They now audition for access. They now calculate their presence around your standards. They don't want to lose you. Not because of who you are, but because of who they are when they're around you. And that's the final transformation. You no longer please to earn peace. You are peace. You carry it like armor, like gravity, like prophecy. They can't play you anymore. Not because you learned their tricks, but because you outgrew the stage. They whisper about you, call you arrogant, cold, unreachable, and every word proves you've won. You were never meant to be palatable. You were meant to be powerful. Let them choke on your silence. Let them drown in your detachment. You are no longer a character in their story. You are the plot twist they never recover from because you killed the need to please. And in doing so, you became something even the old Florentine would approve. A force without chains, a ruler without mercy, when mercy is a leash, a myth without limits. You have become untouchable, not because you've hidden your heart, but because you've weaponized it. You don't reject connection, you simply refuse to beg for it. Your love is no longer a default setting. It is a vault, and most won't even find the keyhole. You've reversed the economy of emotion. In a world that throws attention like coins in a fountain, your silence is gold, your time is treasure, and your presence a privilege earned in blood, not bought with affection. You begin to see it. Not at first. At first, they think you're just quiet, just different. But over time, they realize they can't reach you in the usual ways. They laugh harder, flatter, louder, perform kindness like a ritual. And still your expression doesn't change because you're not looking to be impressed. You're watching to be confirmed. Confirmed that they aren't just another mask looking to pull yours off. Confirmed that they don't just admire your depth. They can breathe in it. You've shifted from approval seeker to reality shaper. The need to please is gone, but in its place is something more dangerous. The power to influence without persuasion. You don't have to convince anyone. You just live differently, and they either adapt or leave. And those who adapt, they start reshaping their behavior to mirror yours. Not because you asked, but because they want to remain in your orbit. You've become their center of gravity. You didn't ask for it. You just became too stable, too sharp, too exacting to be ignored. Now they feel seen and scared, admired and unworthy. You've created a mirror that both reflects and judges. You don't critique. You don't need to. Your standards are coded into your energy. The way you walk, the way you listen without rescuing, the way you disappear when mediocrity dares to cling to you. And in doing so, you've taught them the most powerful lesson. That detachment is not loneliness, it is sovereignty. You've replaced approval with alignment. You don't need them to say you're good. You are. You don't need them to clap for your decisions. You've already made them. You don't need them to agree with your path. You walk it alone, and they begin to sense that their feelings, their reactions, their attempts at praise or punishment all bounce off you like dull blades against steel. You've made yourself emotionally armored, not numb, precise, because emotional precision is the highest form of power. You feel, but you don't fold. You care, but you don't chase. You love, but you don't beg. You offer everything from fullness, not hunger. And that's why they come back again and again. Not because you gave them what they wanted, but because you made them question what they deserve. You made them uncomfortable in a way that no one else had the nerve to. You didn't flatter. You didn't entertain. You revealed them to themselves. And now your name is synonymous with awakening, with tension, with standard, with transformation. They hear it and remember a version of themselves they only knew around you. And that memory never leaves. You are not the past. You are the unfinished chapter. The conversation that ended mid-sentence. The potential they still replay in their mind. When the room goes quiet and they will do anything, say anything to get one more line. But you no longer write with their ink. You write in silence, in absence, in standards that bend for no one. They will test you, apologize, show vulnerability, pretend they understand. But you've learned the difference between change and performance. Performance fades, change sustains, and most cannot sustain the requirements of your presence. So you let them go, not with malice, but with precision. A surgical extraction of their noise from your life. You don't announce it, you execute it. And that makes them remember you more than any confrontation ever could. Because your goodbye never comes with a speech. It comes with absence. An absence when built on power becomes legend. You are no longer someone they explain. You're someone they reference. A name dropped with reverence and confusion. They were different. I don't know why. I just felt small around them. That's the echo of someone who stood in your presence and saw the gap between who they are and who they pretended to be. You made them feel it. Not by telling them, but by simply not shrinking. This is how you remain unforgettable. You walk out of rooms without slamming the door. You leave just enough silence behind that it becomes haunted. They open that door every time they get close to another person, looking for pieces of you, but no one else speaks like you. No one else listens like you. Your exits are now your signature, clean, sudden, final. They can't play you anymore because they no longer know which game you're playing. You've transcended the board. You're not their opponent. You're the architect of the entire room. You don't roll dice. You write the rules. And you don't care if they understand them. You only care if they can keep up. So you stop checking in. You stop replying to silence. You stop being their emotional translator. You speak one language now. Alignment. Anything out of tune fades from your frequency. They sense it. They panic. But it's too late. You're gone. Not in body, in presence. And nothing haunts like a presence withdrawn. You must never explain your evolution. They didn't earn it. And those who didn't grow with you don't deserve the map of how you did it. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Let your transformation become their punishment. Their regret is the price of your clarity. The old city taught that the most dangerous ruler is not the one who speaks loudest. It's the one whose silence changes everything. That's who you've become. They walk into rooms hoping you'll be there, even if they pretend otherwise. They compare everyone to you, even when they try not to. And they replay everything you said, everything you didn't say, wondering what you meant. You're not a person. They've made you a symbol. And symbols don't beg to be liked. Symbols are worshipped or feared, or both. That is your final ascension. From approval seeker to sovereign symbol. From smiling servant to unreadable force. From please like me to you'll never forget me. And they won't, because you didn't just kill the need to please. You buried the version of yourself who thought that was power. You were never meant to be liked. You were meant to be legendary. There comes a point when you no longer need to detach because you were never attached in the first place. The game doesn't end. You just stop playing by their rules. You don't retreat from them. You rise above them. What they once called distance, they now call power. What they once called control, they now call clarity. And what they once called arrogance, they now whisper, is the metamorphosis. You're not resisting who you used to be, you're erasing it. The version of you that needed to be liked, accepted, understood. It was a costume, a survival mechanism. But now survival is no longer the goal. Supremacy is not over others, over yourself, over your instincts to conform, your weakness to be needed, your addiction to approval. You've outgrown all of it, and now they watch you, unsure if they should come closer or step back. Because now you move like a storm, silent until you choose to strike. And when you do, it's never loud. It's final. You don't argue, you vanish, you don't warn, you disappear. You let absence speak in tongues they don't know how to translate. And that's what haunts them. You were real, then you weren't. And they can't explain the void. They say you changed. No, you revealed. You peeled back the agreeable mask and showed them the king beneath. And kings don't explain why they stop smiling. They just stop. Every now and then, someone will try to resurrect the old version of you. They'll poke at your past, reference your old softness, try to drag you back into the frame they used to control, but you won't even look in that direction. That version died in silence, and you buried it without ceremony. Now your stare alone delivers verdicts. Now your posture dictates standards. Now your stillness becomes a sermon. You are the judge and the scripture. They don't know how to handle someone who doesn't need redemption. They're used to people folding under shame. They're used to weakness disguised as humility. But your humility isn't submission. It's precision. It's silence with a sharp edge. It's knowing your worth so deeply that you no longer need to advertise it. So they test you with absence, with provocation, with flattery. But nothing works. You remain unmoved, not indifferent, but unreachable. They confuse stillness for softness until they feel its weight. Because the one who no longer needs to be liked can no longer be led. You are not their mirror anymore. You are their contrast, and it stings. They start seeing their own performance through the lens of your authenticity. Their games feel juvenile beside your quiet precision. Their need to be chosen feels desperate next to your refusal to beg. They see it now that you were never part of the crowd. You were studying the crowd, and now you've left the room and locked the door. People become obsessed with what they cannot decode. And you've become unreadable, not by being vague, but by being real in a world addicted to acting. You're not hiding. You're just no longer volunteering yourself to those who failed. The first test restraint. And now they crave access to what they took for granted. But access has expired, and your presence is no longer currency. It's a throne they stare at from a distance. You've removed yourself not to be missed, but to be remembered, because remembrance is more powerful than presence. Presence fades. Remembrance lingers, and you've become a memory wrapped in mystery. A decision they can't undo. That's how control is won. Not through domination, but through irreplaceability. You make yourself the standard they can't find again. the energy they feel once and search for forever. You don't compete. You redefine the playing field. You become the emotional watermark by which all others are judged and found lacking. Your detachment is not cruel, it's surgical. It's the precision that saves your future from being compromised by their chaos. You don't cut to hurt, you cut to remove rot. And in doing so, you show them a truth. They were never ready for that love. Real love is not blind, it sees everything, and sometimes it walks away anyway. Machiavelli never wrote a manual on how to be loved. He wrote the operating system for how to be respected. The Prince is not about cruelty, it's about clarity. The clarity to do what is necessary for your state, your life, your mind, your mission, without petitioning for permission. Respect is the currency of stability. Fear is simply the boundary that keeps opportunists from confusing your kindness with weakness. To outplay them before they even speak, you must know what they cannot help but reveal the ask. Before the speech, the need behind the smile, the trade behind the compliment. You do not hate people for wanting. Wanting is human. You simply refuse to be gutted by their hunger. Approval is a leash made of invisible thread. It looks like kindness. It feels like community, but tug it once and it tightens. Every time you respond to guilt, you teach them that shame can guide you. Every time you rush to explain, you teach them that confusion can corral you. Kill the need to please, and their favorite levers snap in their hands. From that day forward, every yes becomes a choice, not a reflex. Every no becomes a wall, not a wound. They will label you difficult, cold, arrogant. Let them. Labels are last weapons. Results are final verdicts. Words arrive late. Desire arrives first. Watch how they enter a room. Fast steps mean entitlement. Slow steps mean calculation. Eyes that scan for witnesses want status. Eyes that lock want leverage. The oversmile is a bribe. The soft sigh is a test. The rushed compliment is a hook before they open their mouth. You've already mapped the trade they're here to make. You don't punish them for wanting. You simply price the want. You are not prey. You are the market. Whoever defines the terms owns the outcome. Frames decide whether a favor is charity or contract. Whether your time is a gift or an invoice. Frame every interaction around standards, not feelings. This is how I work. These are the boundaries. This is the pace. When they push for urgency, you slow the wind. When they push for intimacy, you raise the gate. When they try to make the conversation about you being harsh, you make it about the work being precise. Frames are invisible fortresses. Build them before anyone arrives. Access is your asset. Treat it like land. Charge rent and discipline, patience, competence. The undisciplined pay with waiting. The impatient pay with distance. The incompetent pay with silence. You cannot be everywhere for everyone. You can be exact for the few who can carry what you carry. Your attention is not a public park. It's a private citadel. Those who approach must wash their hands of chaos before touching your door. Silence is not emptiness. It's pressure. A paused breath makes the untrained confess. Sell over promise. Say less. Let the gaps work. The person who needs reassurance will fill the air with reasons you should trust them. The person who needs control will escalate to force or flattery. Both reveal their dependence on your reaction. Refuse to be the echo. Learn to watch a sentence die at your feet and not revive it. Your yes is a signature. Your no is a seal. A yes without terms breeds entitlement. A no without stillness invites war. If you agree, enumerate, scope, end date, standard. If you decline, stop speaking. No is a complete sentence and a complete defense. The weak think kindness is endless. The wise ration it into meaning. Give less, mean more. Give in ways that strengthen your position or your peace. Buy book, not the brunch. Share the framework, not the free labor. Make introductions that save you time later. Coach once, systematize twice. Your generosity teaches them how to meet you. If it makes you lighter, it was wise. If it makes you smaller, it was a trap. Not all askers are equal. The flatterer admires to acquire. The martyr bleeds to bind. The ghost appears when they need, disappears when you do. The collector stores favors like ammunition. The quarter serves your image to serve their access. The true ally will challenge you in private and defend you in public. Treat them accordingly. A prince who confuses archetypes hires traitors as counselors and wonders why the palace burns. You are not the applicant. They are. When someone wants your time, give them a small test aligned with reality. Send the outline. Show up on time 3 times in a row. Do the first step without me. Watch for speed, quality, and attitude. Those who pass, multiply your momentum. Those who fail, delete themselves. Auditions save you from explanations. Retreat is not absence. It's asset protection. Set cadences where you are unreachable and unobserved. In the quiet, you sharpen. In the withdrawal, you reset your frame. People who rely on your constant availability will rage at your vanishing. Their anger is your confirmation. You are being consumed, not respected. Your calendar is a castle. Lock the gates on purpose. Hold your eye contact for 2 seconds longer than comfort. Then look past them as if measuring a horizon. You telegraph. I see you, and I see beyond you. When they rush the pitch, slow your breathing. Rhythm dictates reality. Keep your phone face down, your notes handwritten, your attention undivided. Focus is a sword. It cuts the performance out of people. Ask them to define success before they ask you to sacrifice for it. When given a false choice, replace the frame. Neither. Here's the third path. Use numbers, dates, and thresholds. Vagueness is the con man's climate. End meetings on your cue, not theirs. Stand, thank, exit. Power has a posture. They enter with a deck of scarcity. This offer expires today. You let the sentence drift into the air and die. We move on our timeline. To their smile tightens. They pivot to flattery. We've heard you're the visionary. You nod once. Turn the compliment into criteria. Vision demands data. Bring the numbers. Now the performance is expensive. They must either prove or leave. You didn't dominate. You defined. The friend who only calls with emergencies is a collector of your calm. You answer at a time you choose, not when the siren wails. You listen without rescuing. What are your options? You refuse to become the solution factory. Soon they either grow or they go. Growth is love. Enabling is ego wearing mercy's mask. Charm tries to move you. Scarcity tries to scare you. You respond with standards. This is how I love, slowly, cleanly, with consequences. You don't text back faster than your peace. You don't reward confession with rescue. You let desire mature into discipline. Attraction without respect is a coup waiting to happen. You don't romance rebels who plan to keep their own kingdom and raid yours on weekends. Guilt is the family's ancient lever. When they pull it, you hold. I love you. I'm not available. You repeat it like a liturgy. They will escalate to history, to sacrifice ledgers, to the threats of exile. You let the storm pass. You do not negotiate your sanity with people who should guard it. Blood is not a blank check. It's a bond with boundaries. Algorithms monetize outrage and availability. You post with clarity, not for claps. You never argue with anonymous masks. You refuse the economy of rage. You disappear long enough that they learn your attention cannot be farmed. Influence without inner court discipline is a stage without a backstage. Burnout is inevitable. Your backstage is sacred. You curate your inputs like a prince curates counsel. Before the ask comes the scan. Micro tremors in the voice. The slight forward lean. The way hands hover near the chest. When they intend to take, rather than give. Their first story is never their real need. It's their socially acceptable need. Let them finish it. Then ask one question that moves the conversation from fog to figures. What exactly do you want from me? Watch their eyes. If they break contact, they're negotiating with themselves. If they lock in, they were waiting for permission. Either way, you remain the sovereign you grant or you don't. Predictability built on people-pleasing is a weakness. Predictability built on principles is a weapon. Be impossible to sway but easy to forecast. Your standards are the weather. People learn. If it's not aligned, it doesn't land. If it's not precise, it doesn't pass. If it wastes peace, it never enters. When your principles are public and your process is private, they can anticipate your no, but never manipulate your yes. Detachment is not the absence of love, it's the absence of leash. Cruelty injures to feel tall. Detachment removes to stay whole. Machiavelli argued that mercy without order breeds chaos. So does intimacy without standards. You are kind at scale and generous on schedule, but you are never held hostage by tears, timelines, or tantrums. The heart that knows its duty can love with a steady hand. The guilt test. After all I've done for you, response. I appreciate history. I decide on facts. The urgency test. I need this now. Response. Need isn't a plan. The flattery test. Only you can do this. Response. Then it doesn't need doing. The martyr test. I'll figure it out alone. Response. That's wise. The threat test. Silent treatment. Slam doors. Performative pity. Response. Continued peace. You do not reward bad currency. You raise the price of access every time they pay with manipulation. Soon they learn. The only acceptable tender is truth and competence. Princes survive by counsel. Choose advisors who won't sell your peace for their preference. 3 seats only. The strategist clarity. The craftsman standards. The confessor conscience. Everyone else is a guest with a day pass. Rotate your advisors when they start loving the chair more than the crown. Loyalty is tested in the season of no. June, check 1 hour with your plan before the world has a chance to hand you theirs. Gatekeeping. No notifications on by default. People earn the right to interrupt you. Weekly audit. Who drained? Who disciplined? What repeats? Scarcity days. Invisible on purpose. You let the world forget you so you remember yourself. Closure fast. You practice letting misunderstandings live without your oxygen. Power has a pace. Slow inhale, steady gaze, minimal motion. Your body becomes a message. No anxiety theater, no justification choreography. You sip water while others gulp attention. You give stillness as an answer. Predators misread it as weakness. Professionals recognize it as rain. That doesn't work for me. No defense attached. Email me the specifics. Moves chaos into containers. Let me think. Buys time. Reveals their urgency addiction. Not now. Trains patience. That's outside my scope. End scope. Creep before it begins. People repeat what was rewarded. If dramatics brought you running once, they will perform forever. If last-minute panic made you bend, there will always be last-minute panic. If your praise was cheap, they will hunt it like candy. Reverse it. Reward preparation, not panic. Reward precision, not performance. Reward patience, not pressure. Over time, your world changes. Species, fewer peacocks, more eagles. Leaving is an art. Do it early. Do it clean. Do it without prophecy. If they can't feel your standards while you're present, they will feel them when you are gone. Capsence teaches faster than lectures. Closure is the gift you give to relationships that can survive. Silence is the mercy you give to those that cannot. You can be principled and impenetrable. The myth is that kindness and boundaries are rivals. The truth is that boundaries are how kindness survives. Contact with need. Be warm in manner, cold in promise. Say less than you love, deliver more than you said, and never let your compassion be commandeered by incompetence. You don't need to harm anyone to become unplayable. You only need to stop feeding the game. Games require players and attention. You provide neither. You end gossip by refusing to inquire. You end envy by refusing to compare. You end manipulation by refusing to react. Gradually, those who survive your orbit become rare, competent, calm, boundaried. They mirror your discipline because it is the only way to stay. Most losses occur in the first 5 minutes when you accept the frame, accept the urgency, accept the flattery. Enter every room with your own clock and your own language. What are we deciding today? What are the constraints? What does done look like? Watch how quickly mirages melt when reality arrives with a clipboard.